survivalist is the ability to handle whatever situation nature or man throws at you.
At the top of the world, preparations for the end of the world.
Watch that,
The enemy is unseen, but all around.
They're here in our nation, ready and waiting.
In a secret location, a secretive group called the Alaska Watchman are counting down to Doomsday.
This wild and remote place in Alaska's Chugach mountain range will be a refuge for heavily armed survivalists. It's here, in this vast wilderness, they intend to make their final stand.
Their leader is Frankie Shine. He's preparing for every eventuality.
So what we're going to do here is a quick tactical retreat. When the zombies are coming to eat us, we want to make sure that we're able to get away from them and still maintain control of what's going on. That could be any situation. And what we're going to do is just demonstrate a dry run. So he's in the lead. He's going to pop his rounds, come back. I'm going to come either for him or backwards. He's going to hit me in the head. He's going to assume position and I bang, 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 bang.
It'd be funny if they weren't deadly serious
So I've got his back.
about using deadly force with live rounds.
Bang, bang. Good. You want to move? Good deal.
They believe in the prophecies of the Bible and the power of the gun. That survival depends on being ready to move at a moment's notice.
Voodoo is in checkpoint 2.
This is Sarah, we're on our way.
And they're taking me to their training camp, hidden deep in the Alaskan wilderness. They're mostly middle class. Men, women, families, and firepower.
All the training, everything we've done, come together.
In the US Army, Frankie was a sergeant. Here, he's their general.
In this vest, everything I need is here. If I lose that, and I still have this, I'm good to go. If I lose that, because the zombies are coming to get me, I can still hook and book here. Actually, this would be better than that, because I can run faster.
Frankie and his followers believe the signs are everywhere. Middle East wars and Islamic terror, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tsunamis. They don't understand why the rest of us are so complacent.
What's the biggest thing that people take for granted?
Wow, that's that they'll have a job tomorrow, that their employer will always be in business, that the grocery stores will always have food, that the phones and the utilities that are essential to our lives will always remain. Not so. Everything is in flux. It could change in the blink of an eye, and there's nothing anyone can do about it except for prepare. Carry one gun, carry one long rifle.
Mashed potatoes. Case number 7.
2 flak vest, 4 bulletproof vest. No accidental discharges. If you're gonna die, die for a reason. If you wouldn't mind.
This is the bit we're not filming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep.
Why did you start the Alaskan Watchman?
Because I realized I couldn't do it myself. The problem with that is day 5. At what point would I be able to sleep? These are for the AR magazine pouches. Trying to get away from the hungry crowd, some of whom may be very desperate to take my life. I'm good to go. So I interviewed roughly 200 people, and I found 20 out of that.
Among the chosen 20, the Edwards family.
Hang on. You hanging on?
In town, Aaron is a teacher. and Sarah a psychologist. In the wild, Aaron and Sarah are armed and ready for the anarchy ahead.
There could be lost loved ones, family members, extended family members. You've lost your home, your property, everything you've owned. You could feel helpless. And then imagine yourself living in a camp or a shelter without things that are familiar.
He wouldn't give us his real name, but Cowboy served in Afghanistan.
I'm ready to go. I have at least 3 months worth of supply for a family of 13.
Holding the gun is Cindy Calzada, a public servant when she's not sharpshooting.
Oh, there it goes!
And then there's Susan, a retired mortgage broker who's now investing in a fearful future.
So, Sue, why did you join the Alaska Watchman?
Well, frankly, about a year and a half ago, I started becoming very seriously concerned about what is happening to the world and in our nation. And I began to get very stressed, frustrated, and angry. And I didn't know what to do. When you hear so many things that, you have to look to the future. You really do.
Forward, engage. For the majority of people outside of this movement, it's denial. The signs are there every day. You don't have to be an alarmist to see them going on, and you certainly can't spend all your time trying to convince people. They have to wake up themselves. People leave the cities, and they come up this way, and they run into people like us. There's lots of groups out there building bunkers, getting out of the cities. Backyard bomb shelters abound everywhere, even here in this state.
Their training, their preparation, their mantra is to have guns, to have rice, to have beans, to have ammo, to have a hideout in the mountains, and to have their camo gear and so on. In other words, to be able to defend themselves against others in the case of one thing, and one thing only, anarchy.
Californian developer Robert Vicino believes the survivalists are wasting their time, but not for the reasons you might expect.
That bag of rice is not going to save them from a nuclear attack or fallout, or a coronal mass ejection from the sun, or a pandemic that is rapidly widespreading around the world, or a mega tsunami or a pole shift with 300 to 500 mile-an-hour winds. What we're building for is what would be considered a biblical epic disaster.
Do you believe an Armageddon is coming?
Absolutely.
Robert is buying up abandoned nuclear shelters that were built 60 years ago during the Cold War. He's turning them into state-of-the-art Doomsday bunkers.
The best way to describe this facility is it's kind of like a submarine. It's got everything. Eventually there'll be a nice pool table in there so people have something to do. A society is created and a society will live.
The average cost of a bed in one of his shelters is $50,000. 1,000 people have already signed up with his company, Vivos. How will they know when it's time to take shelter?
Vivos is about those events that can be predicted. For example, if it's an asteroid, we may get years of notice. Perhaps a terrorist event has happened, maybe a nuke went off in London or Paris or New York. It might be a good time, if you live in Sydney, to run to your shelter, because your city could be next.
That's right. Robert and his team want to build bunkers down under.
We're looking from Brisbane down to Melbourne, and the thought is to have one between Sydney and Brisbane and another one between Sydney and Melbourne.
Just paint us a picture of what it would be like in one of these bunkers.
Have you ever been to a 4-star hotel, sitting in the lobby? That's what it's going to be like. And I can guarantee you, it's going to be much better than it's going to be on the surface.
What's also helping sales is the so-called Mayan prophecy, the ancient calendar that ends on December 21st this year. In other words, Doomsday is 174 days away.
It could be that the Mayans did foresee something. I can assure you that there will be a need to go to shelter. The question is not if, but when.
Back in Alaska, the Watchmen are on high alert.
This is protection for me and anybody I love.
That's a big gun.
Yes, it is.
And that's an AK-47?
Yes, it is. Chinese model. Hold that for me, please. When handling a weapon, it's very important that your finger never goes on the trigger till you've acquired your target and you are ready to shoot.
Their weaponry is frightening to me. My inexperience, bewildering to them.
You know we're not allowed to have these guns in Australia?
Why is that?
That's the law.
I feel for you. Weapons hot.
Weapons hot.
Finger discipline. Finger discipline. Thank you.
It pleased the survivalist that I'd had a go.
Good job. How's it feel to shoot an AK-47?
Hard to describe. It's powerful. It's a lot of power to have.
Good. All right. The range is hot. On 1, 3, 2, 1, engage.
The Alaska Watchmen genuinely consider themselves prophets of a coming doom.
Lock and load. Acquire target.
Their guns, ammo, and extreme views concern many. Not that they give a damn.
Could your organisation be seen as gung-ho, even militant?
I don't care. If the crap hits the fan, I'm going to eat. I'm going to have my friends around me when I go to sleep, and I know somebody's watching my back. And that's important to me and important to them. And especially when you consider that we have children involved. That's important to all of us. Continue. That's it. Good deal.